Morning, you're watching Sky News. Hello, a very good morning. You're watching Sky News. Let's get you up to date with our top stories here today. And a major global IT outage is impacting many of the world's largest companies, including us here at Sky News. The system failure is believed to have been caused by a flawed antivirus update, although nothing has as yet been confirmed. Major broadcasters, banks and IT companies are affected, as well as airports, with some flights having been grounded. And just to let you know that you can keep up to date with the impact of this outage in our live blog on our website and on our app.
Let's bring you up to speed, though, on some of the day's other stories. Now, Donald Trump has addressed the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee 5 days after surviving an attempt on his life. In a speech lasting more than an hour and a half, Mr. Trump formally accepted the party's nomination to be the president. He also spoke at length about the incident last weekend, outlining some of his key campaign promises.
There's fresh pressure this morning on Joe Biden to pull out of the race for the White House, with reports suggesting that both Barack Obama and former Speaker Nancy Pelosi have expressed concerns about his re-election bid. More than 22 Democrats have publicly called for their leader to step down. The president is currently carrying out his day-to-day duties in isolation after being diagnosed with COVID on the campaign trail in Las Vegas.
Meanwhile, Sir Keir Starmer will host his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky, in Downing Street later today. The Ukrainian president will address the cabinet on the latest situation on the battlefield in Ukraine. It'll be the Prime Minister's first time hosting a foreign dignitary since being elected and winning the election earlier this month, and in fact the first time that a sitting president has addressed the cabinet in person since Bill Clinton back in 1997. The meeting comes after 44 European countries and the EU agreed to disrupt Russia's so-called shadow fleet of vessels, carrying around 1.7 million barrels of oil a day.
West Yorkshire Police has promised to bring the full weight of the law on those responsible for starting a riot in Leeds overnight. Sky News has witnessed firsthand the shell of a double-decker bus that had been burnt out, as well as a police vehicle that had been flipped over. The violent scenes reportedly began after police responded to a disturbance which involved agency workers as well as some children. And the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, says she's been left appalled by the scenes of unrest.
A touch of good news for you now. The mini heatwave is set to reach parts of the UK. Temperatures could reach as high as 31 degrees Celsius. A yellow heat alert has been issued for London, the East Midlands, the South East and Eastern England. That will come into effect from 5 p.m. this evening and remain in place until 11 p.m. tomorrow. It's not for long, though. The cooler weather returning on Sunday.
At least one person has died and 10 others injured in a drone strike on Israel's Tel Aviv. Israel's military says they're investigating the attack and why their defence systems failed to intercept the drone. Yemen's Houthi group has claimed responsibility for the strike.
Internet and mobile phone services have been cut off in Bangladesh after days of violent protests, which have killed at least 39 people. The demonstrators are demanding an end to a quota system that reserves up to 30% of government jobs for relatives of veterans that fought in Bangladesh's War of Independence back in 1971. They say that the system is unfair and mostly benefits supporters of the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, whose party led the independence movement back in the 1970s. They want it replaced with a merit-based system instead. Hasina's government has responded by raiding the headquarters of the main opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party and arresting members of its student wing.
And tributes are being paid to long-time star of the screen, Bob Newhart, who's died at the age of 94 following a series of illnesses. Newhart is best known for his role in the Christmas comedy Elf, as well as regular appearances in The Big Bang Theory. His career spanned more than 5 decades, including his induction into the Television Hall of Fame back in 1993. So that's a summary of our top stories. Just a reminder, you can find full reports on all our top stories on our website and on our app.